welcome, Brave TV Nation. It's Monday. Dr. Jason Dean, Brave TV, your source for health, freedom, and knowledge, overcoming weather warfare, literally down here in Florida, which I'll take you through in a little bit because there'll be some interesting questions we do on weather warfare HARP. It's already started. We have like the radar to actually back it up, and so we are experiencing it down here in Florida. Weird stuff in the air, smoke in the air, respiratory issues in the air. Doesn't matter how healthy you are, how not healthy you are. So some of you might be experiencing that. Well, spraying is literally around the clock. So yeah, lots and lots of fun. But Terral is back today, so let's dive right in. Terral, I even gave you a nice little image there. How are you, buddy?
Doing very well. Thank you very much for having me.
Good to have you back. How you been up there?
I'm busy, just like you, busy as I can be. Oh, I was going to ask you as we're getting started, is the sound better? This is a $200-300 headset that I'm wearing rather than the regular.
Sounds great today. I hear it very well.
Okay. Also rebooted, did everything I could to make the sound better.
No, it sounds
So,
really,
yeah,
really, really good.
yeah,
Really
yeah,
good.
busy, really busy. We had a near miss with a tornado last night, just a mile from the house, which is extremely rare for Northwest
Oof.
Arkansas. Even though we're, up, Tornado Alley, pretty close, they always go around us. And yesterday, I was really surprised. We tracked it. A friend of mine, one of my brothers in Christ, he sent me a phone message at 10 o'clock at night. He never does that. So I thought somebody died or something. And then he warned us about what was coming, and it was a near miss right here in Northwest Arkansas.
Wow, that's a little scary. We had I did not download the pictures to my computer yet, but I have family friends out in Omaha, Nebraska, and I saw the tornadoes hit there. I think it was Saturday night. And I texted to make sure he was okay, and it wasn't far from their house, but he sent me pictures of just everything flattened over there. So it is picking up, man. It's picking up.
Big time.
I want to show you something really quick before we dive in, because I think I remember I told you this even a couple shows ago. I said that you said June 3rd, right?
Yes.
There's a gentleman. Do you know the name Ryan Garcia, the boxer, or no?
I've heard of him, but not somebody I follow.
Okay. So Ryan Garcia is a boxer. He just had a boxing match, I think a week or so ago, that he was considered to be an underdog. He went on a bunch of X or Twitter tirade posts about trafficking and the elite and deep state cabal, and people just thought he was a wacko. But a lot of us who know what's going on were like, no, he's right. So he was an underdog in Las Vegas, so he put $2 million on himself on a bet because he knew he was going to win. He ended up winning. He made like $20 million on that, $30 million on the fight. He gave $20 million to human trafficking. But then he was in Mar-a-Lago with President Trump, I think a few days ago, and he went on a really popular podcast there. This is the second or third time that he's said this. I'm going to show you the video real quick. Here's the video. I'll just bring this up really brief. It's only 30 seconds. He predicts, this is the third time I think he's predicted this. He's predicted an earthquake for June 6, 2024 in California.
I have predicted that there will be earthquake June 6th.
June 6th?
June
Any
6th.
specific location or just
LA and Vegas.
June 6th?
On
earthquake?
June 6th of 2024. All right, that's what I'm going to leave it with.
There you have it.
Everybody get the hell out of Los Angeles. Everybody if you're watching this, run, bitches. Y'all better, this dude's spitting Bible verses. Mom, if you're watching this, get out. Mom, get out. June 6th, come to Florida.
June 6th, Vegas and LA. There you have
There you go.
Okay, I could do an analysis on that date and turn the Earth around and on UTC time and look at for the alignment because generally these quakes happen whenever the epicenter happens, whenever the Earth, the Sun, and the black star are in dead alignment. And then if you stop it at a time, see if you gave me a time, I could stop the Earth at exactly that time and it'd give you location. But if I have the location, then I can kind of tell you the time. So there's the near side and the back side. So I could do mine's for 2 to 4 a.m. on UTC on the 3rd. So probably that's going to be a little bit later, 3 days later. The Earth's going to turn to, it's going to be 1 degree. His would be for, I can just do the math in my head real fast. It's going to be 5 a.m. on the 6th, if he turns out to be correct. Because remember, my date is the center of an event window. You go 7 days each way.
Yeah, and it's not to rebut yours. It's more of you guys' dates are too close together for something not to be considered.
Right. Well, we're on the record. I was on the record for December 2nd, second half of the day for 6 months, and it happened. Right, exactly whenever it was supposed to happen. So we'll see who's right, or if either of us are right. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right on this. As a matter of fact, what he did is what Pete Rose did. Pete Rose bet on his own team, same way as this guy.
Well, but here's the question, Terral. He went to Mar-a-Lago. President Trump is not stupid. He may be selected or not selected. That's entirely up to debate. I have my viewpoints. I know you have yours. However, I guarantee you this, because I do know several people that know President Trump personally, and they all have told me he is a genius. He absolutely knows what's going on at all times. He knows these timelines. There's a reason why this is all being set up the way it is. So something is going down around those dates one way or another. And to me personally, whether it's June 3rd or June 6th, again, I'm not in this world of math that you're in. So obviously for you and others, this is very like, it's a target dates, target time. My job is I see 5 or 6 plus people now who are calling these dates out specifically, which means for me, when there's smoke, there's fire. That's too many people with the same data or similar data around the same time. That means there should be a red light going off for people. For you specifically, you have those actual details. So take us however you want to on that.
Okay. Well, mine is not a feeling or anything. It's science.
Right.
100% science. It's from knowing the near side alignments and the backside alignments of quakes going back to 2011. So doing this for a long time, and refining the process. That's what science is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. We gather more evidence, and then we reformulate hypotheses, and we take it from there. And I'm having to make fewer and fewer adjustments. Now counting the number of seconds in between near side and backside alignments, and doing the math, because those numbers are getting smaller, and by percentage. And so I'm pretty darn sure that that's going to be correct. So were you wanting me to try to weave in the politics and what's going on with Trump and everything else? Or?
You do. Yeah, you go however you want to. It does not negatively affect me or positively affect me. Any viewpoints on President Trump. I've heard both sides. I've had both sides. I've taken different viewpoints. So yeah, however you want to go about it is fine.
Okay.
Well, we are a transparent, out in the open show. So you can call him the devil or you can call him Jesus Christ. It does not matter to me either way.
Yeah. Well, just briefly, so then you can ask me a specific question later. It's easy with a specific question. But he's been selected, even though the Global Bankers Cartel and the Council on Foreign Relations are doing everything to make it look like the opposite. Don't throw this rabbit into the briar patch type of thing. So you're using reverse psychology, making it look like that's who they don't want, whenever actually that's who they do want. He's been selected already. He's going to be brought in the office. They obviously don't want Kamala Harris in there. And Biden's a dog king, for sure. Michael Yans gives the best explanation of that. He's totally incompetent. He's an embarrassment, is what he is. But his handlers are moving everything into place to bring in the central bank digital currency. The banks are getting all the gold and the silver they can. You guys should be getting your hands on all the gold and silver you can. I'm not kidding you. The big change is about to happen. Bix Weir is the guy. Rhoda guy. He's the best.
Yeah, Bix Weir, good guy.
Man, he is on it. He gives the most information in the least amount of words, and to get you right on what's happening with the lying that's going on, the manipulation, and Japan is now making every electric car and every solar panel they can because they know silver's about to blow up.
Japan's currency is plummeting right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, China. Oh yeah, but
Japan plummeted over the weekend.
Right, and they are working behind the scenes with BRICS. Is the way things look to me. They're going to make the smart decision. South Korea should do the same thing, fast as they can, or else there's not going to be no more South Korea. It's all going to be Korea again, like it was before 38th parallel. in my view. So Japan and South Korea be wise to get out from under what's going on with the United States, with NATO, with the SWIFT system. All that is going to be taken down deliberately and on purpose. And it could happen if you listen to Bix Weir in about 30 days. He says it's going to be about 30 days and all this is going to roll out. Everything's going to unravel and the derivatives bubble is going to pop. That's the real big story behind everything else. Is whenever that derivatives bubble pops, it's $3 or $4 quadrillion, depending on who you talk to. And the silver short positions no longer going to be covered. Silver's not going to get to $50 before there's going to be no more. There's going to be no more silver. And some people see silver going 1-to-1 with gold because of all the silver demand that's about to happen. So get your hands on small denomination silver, 1-ounce rounds. I recommend Miles Franklin. You can get more information on that. So the politics was playing out here. We're being distracted. Trump being kept in the news, and Biden crime syndicate diminishing the American brand, and more nations running to China and BRICS away from SWIFT and away from the Americans. This is the phrase is Sandman. Project Sandman is going to be executed. The dollar's dying, but death of 1,000 cuts right now. And then all of a sudden, the nations are all going to pile up against us. Everybody's going to realize China, Russia, BRICS is a military alliance, and we're on the short end of that at some point. Go ahead.
No, so based on research over here, we have Trump, and you just said the Koreas will. You said this was interesting. I was taking this note when you just said this. You said South Korea will probably combine with North Korea to make a one Korea. Is that correct?
Well, they're going to have
something like that. You just said.
Yeah, they're going to have to submit to BRICS. China.
They already did.
Yeah, that has to happen because otherwise they're going to be snowed under. Well, you would have no more South Korea because they would be China and Russia and everybody in the world. Everybody in BRICS would take over South Korea. So South Korea must submit, just like Japan must submit. They must to.
So
all the East must go BRICS, all of it.
I can prove this already for you. Ready?
Okay.
I won't bring it up because it's too long of a video, but President Trump just last night reposted a truth on his Truth Social of everybody having basically given in and submitted themselves to the new system, and it shows him and Kim Jong-un going over the DMZ, which when the act of them going back and forth over that DMZ into North Korea, South Korea, means that Korea will be one most likely. So what I'm saying is, I believe, and this doesn't have to be your viewpoint, I'm actually just curious, but I believe this was already done in 2017.
It has to happen. But the analogy I use is the prison yard.
Yeah.
Okay. The United States has been the biggest protector in the prison yard. So if you've known anybody in prison, you know that they have to make alliances or else they're not going to survive. Who's the biggest, baddest guy is the guy you have to work with. Well, There's a new biggest, baddest guy, and that's BRICS. Now, BRICS is providing protection against the other big bully, which is the United States. So nations are monkey swinging. All right. I mean, a lot of them have already committed, but the smaller guys, they're having to hold on to the United States while they're also holding on to BRICS. It's a monkey swinging thing. And now they're at Project Sandman, they're all going to let go at the same time. But systematically, the African nations, you see the United States is being run out of Africa. It's happening. Niger and other places. We're leaving $100 million Air Force base for free because we can't support it anymore. So that's happening. It's going to happen in South America the same way. So yes, I do believe that all this is done ahead of time. I wasn't aware of what you just mentioned, South Korea and the announcement last night. But I know that South Korea and Japan, like you just mentioned, the yen, it's going to collapse first.
Yep.
It's the first one in the world that's going to collapse. And the euro is going to be probably a month behind that. And then the dollar is going to be behind that. But Japan sees the writing on the wall. They see that the new baddest guy in the prison yard is BRICS, and they're going to have to jump on. South Korea is kind of joined with Japan. So that has to happen. but it's not really in the news yet because of that prison yard thing. You can't let the other bully know that you're switching. So that's
Right.
what's going on. That's what's going on. But now the fact that they're coming out and saying something, and Japan's going to be more obvious, South Korea's going to be more obvious, means that we passed the threshold.
That means
American,
this is imminent. When I say imminent,
yeah,
like,
imminent.
I'm not saying 5 minutes from now. Some people take that incorrectly, but you're right. We are a week to a quarter maybe away from this max. Would you say?
It looks like it's about a month.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say that roughly. I would give it a quarter just to be safe and give some padding to it. But
Bix Weir says by the end of May.
I think Trump posting that video last night, which I'll email over to you, tells me a whole lot, because he knows what he's doing. I mean, this let me give you a little more background on this, because you don't necessarily you don't know my research behind the scenes as well, because we take from yours, which puts into my puzzle pieces. But Terral, I grew up a giant New York Yankee fan when I was still in the Matrix, because I'm from New York. So I'm a Yankee fan for life, because it's kind of like in our blood, jokingly. I grew up in the 90s and 2000s, and one of my favorite baseball players of all time is a man named Mariano Rivera. And he is now, I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame yet. I don't remember. I haven't watched in so long, but he's considered the greatest closer or saver of all time. He was number 42. He's the last number 42 that was allowed to still wear it, with Jackie Robinson having been retired. But his nickname was the Sandman. And he came out to the pitching mound with to the song Enter Sandman. And in 2017, I think it was, President Trump had him at the White House and made a big deal out of him being the greatest of all time. And I said, this is all signs. They're giving you symbolism. Enter Sandman. It's Project Sandman. They're going to de-dollarize. This is what they're doing. Trump is going to come in for the save. That's my viewpoint on it. Does that make sense?
Yes. I hear what you're saying. I disagree with how it's going to shake out. But
how do you see it? How do you see it shaking out? Tell me about that. So I understand what your viewpoint is.
Okay. I see a Red Dawn scenario happening here in the United States. The Chinese already have divisions that are here. Okay. They're taking over the place. They've been doing the same thing in Taiwan for a long time. They're going to take Taiwan without firing a shot, for sure.
China will.
China's going to take
that's going to happen. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, without firing a shot. They're not going to destroy infrastructure or anything. The chip factories and things.
That means our computer industry is destroyed if we don't do something about that.
There's nothing that we can do about it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's part of that World War III scenario.
Yeah, and that's the Dragon Day scenario, and that's going to happen. So most of our chips, most of the things that we have here says made in China on it.
Right.
And whenever that's turned against us, then we're going to have more serious problems than people realize. But I believe that Trump is going to be used. He's being used as a distraction right now, and he's going to be used to manipulate particularly those of us on the right, to make us believe that a white knight is coming, the white hats and all that. As soon as I see white hats in a phrase, to me, there are no white hats. There's only black hatters. There are intelligence and counterintelligence, and they are playing good cop, bad cop. And I believe Trump is an insider, and he's playing good cop. He's playing the good cop. But in the end, the BRICS, see, China has a lot of undesirable elements they must neutralize. They have millions and millions and millions of military elements, intelligence agents. They have to neutralize them. They're going to send them here for grandma to neutralize them with her machine gun. Okay, Russia has undesirable elements. India has them. So BRICS army must come here, not to take over the United States. That's the smokescreen. They're not going to take this place over. The elite are going to run to the underground arc cities. The Black Star is going to take everybody out anyway. So if you're talking about a 2025, 26, 27, 28 year plan, that's not going to happen. That's to make people believe in a future when that's not here. The Black Star is going to wipe everything out. Trump and the Pelosi's and the Clintons, they're planning on coming out of the underground arc cities to start their new world order. Well, we're not invited to that party. So that's how I see that playing out. If you're in the Ozarks and you have a chance, John Moore and others, if you give yourself that opportunity, then you can be part of the new world order. if they decide not to kill you. At least that's their plan. So I see things shaking out differently on that. When you go back and look at Trump in Operation Warp Speed, and he still endorses the programs, it's genocide. That's what we're talking about. So you can't have it both ways. You're either a good guy or a bad guy. And generally, if you're in power, whether you're a governor, whether you're a president, you're part of the system. Whether you're an operative, an asset, or a dupe, you're part of the system. And like you say, Trump's not stupid. He's a genius. And he knows how to manipulate better than anybody else. Whenever he debated all those Republicans, it was a stage full. He was the master, right? So whether it's China, Russia, he knows how to get along with everybody and manipulate everybody because he's going to the underground Ark City with them. So that's how I see things. So Trump's going to be in power, but it's not necessarily going to be for our benefit. The 880 FEMA camps are already fully operational. There's people that's going to be sent into those FEMA camps to be turned into fertilizer. Who do you think is going to do that? It's not going to be Biden. It's going to be Trump. So they're going to begin by rounding up people. It's going to go round up all the illegals, but they're just going to keep rounding. It's going to be martial law by that time. And so the roundup's going to happen, but it's going to be people, those of us on the right, people of us that know what's going on. That's their plan anyway. So that's the way that I see things shaking out. So it's kind of like your scenario. Trump is going to be selected. We agree on that. But I disagree that I believe he's working with the global banks cartel. I think he has been from the beginning. He epitomizes them. If you think things through, go ahead.
No. I'm just listening. I'm a how do I explain what I am? I'm a researcher, but I feel a lot of people have threads of truths and what they're researching themselves and talking about. This world is this world. This world's a fallen world, technically. So, and it's also not where we're supposed to be ultimately anyway. So it's in a way, a simulation. So to me, it's kind of a game, if that makes sense. And I don't want to belittle, what other people think of it as. But the political activities of this world will never end. The money systems of this world will never end. They may change a little bit. I don't know if they can get us all to bend a knee, Terral, without first allowing us to have a victory. And I personally think that there's a patriotic victory coming first before the actual fall. Does that make sense? Yeah,
I hear what you're saying. I don't subscribe to that.
Sure.
Things happen differently. I agree that we're living in a matrix. This world's not even real. Heaven and earth are created. The only realm that's real is where we come from, where we are God's infinite realm. Mm-hmm. It's all in my book, The Mystery Explained, the real realm. That's the cause. This is only the effect. There are no choices here. Those are already made. Ecclesiastes 1 started 9. We're doing things already done. This is for the third time. So we're reenacting elements of the satanic rebellion, where lies and deception were the biggest tools to destroy the sons of God. And it's happening right now. So choose your tutors wisely and listen for that ring of the truth. That's what you're looking for when you interview these different people. You get a little piece here and you get a little piece there, and you hear the ring and you put it together and it resonates. And then you go, hey, this is what I'm doing the same thing. Other researchers, yeah, we're all doing the same thing. We all have a perspective, and everybody's going to see that you're right and I'm right about this is a matrix that we're living in. It is. It's a matrix inside the matrix. If you saw the movie The 13th Floor, then where Douglas Hall began is heaven, and where he went to in circa 1927, that was the earth. And then where he was at the end of the movie was the infinite realm. There's 3 realms there, and there's 3 realms in reality. So this is a matrix that we're living in right now, inside of heaven. That is a matrix. And so we all know each other.
I have a question for you. Ready? Okay. Because it's always interesting when we chat like this. And first of all, I tell everybody, Terral, I go, I've done close to 2,000 shows over 8 years. And I know you've done a ton of shows, right? And I always tell them, I don't have to agree with everybody that comes on the show. Terral probably doesn't agree with everybody that he's ever done a show on. And I think we are, as Americans, we get into this idea that like everyone has to be on the same page and agree. And I think that's just funny because I'm friends with all kinds of people from all different religions. I know atheists that like, okay, we don't agree on stuff, but like, we're still like, we can talk and be kind to each other, etc. But the kicker on this is where people don't really know what they're supposed to be seeking. And it's funny because here's a couple of the comments. People get a little panicked, Terral. For example, if Terrell's right, what's the point of anything if he's right? And I want you to answer that. But my point is people have to start waking up to who they are as souls. Who are you in God's creation? We do live in a matrix. We live in a simulation. We know that. Many of us know that in this channel. But this idea of what's the point if you're right, right? We live in a fallen world. But I want to hear your point because when you talk about this, Terral, this stuff doesn't affect me, bother me negatively, etc. Because one, I'm very comfortable with who I am, but also we prepare. And when things happen, things happen. And if the world is nuked, well, there's not much I could have controlled on that anyway. So we move on to the next world. But that's just me. I would love you to answer that. What's the point if Terral is right?
It's extremely important. Okay, well, right from Scripture. I'm a Bible thumper, and much of what you get from me is from a biblical perspective. So we're in a competition, members of Christ's body, and we're being put in a hierarchy. Christ at the top of a pyramid. You want to be a top stone, or you want to be a bottom stone? There's many on the bottom, very common. Do you want to be on the top or the bottom? So we're running the races to win. So I'm doing the best spiritually, with the mystery explained, showing you how to see God's wisdom hidden in plain sight, and physically as a survivalist, because I'm running a race and I want to win. It's very important. So yes, in this matrix, we're members of the Lamb's body. In heaven, we are members of Christ's body. In the infinite realm where we're God's, we're members of God's body. Where do you want to be? I want to be at the top. Because people can use an excuse. What's the point? So I'm just going to lay down. Go ahead. That's going to let me win. That's what I want you to do. Go ahead. Well, not really. I want to have a good fight. I want to have a good race, arm wrestling or whatever. No matter. I was a 6th grade champion, by the way.
Nice.
I mean, I have to win. The guy that
I'm the same way, man. I'm a business owner. I'm type A. I've got to win.
Me too. And he was twice my size and had one arm. He only had his right arm. He had his left one was a hook. His name was Scott, a good friend of mine. He beat everybody in 2 seconds until he got to me, and I knew I just had to hold him up until he strained himself. So I'm very, very competitive, and I really, really want to win. That's what it's about. So do you want to be on the top of the pyramid or on top of the bottom? And are you going to run the race to win, or are you going to lay down? God's watching all of us. He's going to judge all of us. How are you going to fare in that judgment? And that's what it's about for me. That's very, very important to me, even though I know this is a matrix. But we get back to God's infinite realm, Satan is not going to be there anymore. His precious stones are going to be placed on us, and we're going to be able to go to places where we could never dream of before, and the eyes are going to be opened up. But it's going to be for those of us that work and help others like you're doing. You're not doing this for your health. You're doing this to wake up, help other people to wake up, do the research, share it with others, so that we can devise the best survival strategy for ourselves and our families. That's exactly what I'm doing. That's what you're doing. I feel like I'm in competition with you, and we share views back and forth. And so that's the answer for me, is that I'm running the race to win. And even though the cards are stacked against us, everything is dark. We're going to be in our darkest hour. Our heads are going to be pushed down. Our faces are going to be full of mud. And then at the last second, our darkest hour, Lord God's going to reach in and he's going to change everything. And that's my expectation. That's my hope.
I get it. It's so funny. So it's so funny you said you need to win. My wife and I are both athletes. We trained our daughter to be an athlete. She's the same mentality. We're all business owners as well, type A. And it's funny when people get all down, I'm like, what are you down for? Like, where's your sense of survival? Where's your sense of I have to win? Like I think this is one of the problems with where America's at, Terral, is we've lost this spirit of America, quite honestly, is this entrepreneur, business owner, freedom lover spirit of like, you could be bombing the hell out of our entire country, going after every city. There could be UN troops on corners. Terral, I ain't giving up. Like, I'm going to win this damn. I'm going, you know what I mean? Like, and if I'm taken out during it, that whatever, but I'm still going for the win. Do people not think of this anymore?
Well, I explain in my book, The Mystery Explained, that the peak of that pyramid that I'm talking about is 2,000 years ago. Jesus Christ, Paul, Barnabas, Titus. That's the peak of the pyramid. Now lay the pyramid on its side and then realize it's a timeline. And the timeline brings it to where we are today. And that's the base of the pyramid. We're surrounded by common stones, brother. Common stones at the bottom of the pyramid. That's how we incarnated here.
Right.
But we're having difficulty reaching those that are around us. Some of us are, if 2,000 years ago, our work would have been accepted much easier, much better by the choice stones. But we're here. This is when God chose for us to be here.
Right.
And so we're here. But we are dealing with common stones. So the principles, the concepts, doctrines taught in my book, The Mystery Explained, are not well received. They just aren't. The common stones don't really see them that much. They can't see the knowledge and the wisdom that's in there. Back in Paul's day, I think they would have got it more. But in the end, Lord God's going to stand each of us individually alone, and he's going to make all the other brothers know, what our contribution was, God's going to shed light on everything, and then he's going to make everything right. So I'm very, very confident.
No, you're so right, Terral. You're so right about that. At the end of the day, I still have in my soul that if I were to give up or quit or whatever, that there is a judgment at some point that I did not seek out my truth, the fight, the battle. At the end of the day, this place is a game. You have to play the game. Like bankers run the game. Okay, they run the game right now until something different happens. But it's been inborn into us the survival of our Creator, of our God, of our higher oversoul, whatever you want to call that, right? And for anybody out there who's like, oh, this is just negative and down, but then you're not seeking out that inner survival and that God source within you that pushes you to move every day. You may not be a fan of how Terral lives his life in the Ozarks and building up his whatever, but that's what guides Terral. And at least he has a survival mechanism where he is pushing, right? I live in Florida. Some people are like, oh, why aren't you leaving Florida? Because I have a little different viewpoint on it. But at the end of the day, I have a survival mechanism in me that says we are going to win this. I will win this. My family will win this. And we will continue to push forward in that truth and in that light. Like I believe at the end of the day, if I'm fighting for what's best in God's creation of us as souls, then I can't lose. But I have to keep fighting, Terral. It is that important.
Could I ask you what part of Florida?
Central Florida, Orlando area.
Central?
Yep.
I was raised on 2 horse farms in Union Park, Florida.
Oh yeah.
That was 7 miles outside of Orlando before it was incorporated. And then we relocated to St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay.
Where I was recently in Pinellas Park, Florida. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a Floridian. But I'm living in the Ozarks because Florida ain't safe. But
I don't disagree at the end of the day, man. I don't disagree.
Yeah. Well, you can be raptured from Florida just like I can from Arkansas.
Well, here's the other thing. You know what I've learned, Terral, is there's something really dangerous in this world, more dangerous than any physical thing that could happen to us, more dangerous than any earthquake, volcano, more dangerous than any nuke, etc. And that danger is, and I say this for viewers, I'm not saying it for you, Terral, I'm saying it for viewers, the danger of unwillingness to learn something. That's it. Like unwilling to look, unwilling to learn, unwilling to research and find out, for yourself what's happening. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Yeah, that's inquisitive. That's part of being a genius, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a childlike feature that we have. I have it, and I learn something every time that we're together, and I try to learn something from everyone that I'm ever fellow that handles my weapons. I learn from him every single time that I'm over there. And from everybody, you always want to try to pick up something. As long as your mind is expanding and you're growing, then and you're moving forward, then that's the way the Lord God made us. If you notice that Ephesians 6 started 17, the armor, everything is forward facing. Everything's forward facing. Your sword, your shield, everything is forward facing. Then you're supposed to be moving forward. And I was a gamer. I was an addicted gamer. I was
You're
one
a
of the top
gamer,
10.
like in video games?
Yeah, I was
No.
on GameSpy Quake 2. I was one of the top 10 players in the world.
You don't sound like it. You don't sound like you were a gamer, man.
No, 60 man clan Jedi. I was the trainer for 60 guys, 4x4, 2x2, 1x1. I can give you all the strategies. Worked that out for years and years and years. And I had to give it up because it was too addictive and it was taking too much of my time. But gaming is really important. That's how they train children to use these sophisticated weapons.
Yeah.
Is gaming. That's very important. I still have the game. I haven't gone on there in a long time. Maybe I need to go back, mess around. It's usually the little kids that beat me. By
Nice.
the way,
Yeah. Let's dive into man. I have pictures of HARP this weekend. I have pictures of weather wars, direct energy weapons. What are you seeing? What are you knowing on the weather wars that are heating up with and specifically also those to earthquakes? Do you think they're contributing to the earthquake situation right now, or do you think it's totally separate?
Well, previously, my standard canned presentation and answer was that HARP is being used, CERN, the related technologies, Tesla technologies, they're being used to neutralize, to make things look better than they were. I believe we've passed a threshold now to where the weather wars, the weather technology is being used to be destructive, to amplify black star effects.
Okay.
That's what happens as you're coming down the home stretch. And that happens as the atmosphere is changing. Black star is getting closer and the jet stream is lowering and you're seeing superstorms that are just coming out of nowhere. So much of that is the black star. So let's don't make it all weather modification, geoengineering. Let's don't make it all black star at this point. It's both is what's going on. So the technologies, the HARP technologies, remember it's space-based, and the directed energy weapons. Saw a recent, the guy that does the YouTube, Into Thin Air guy, he showed.
Oh yeah. I've been watching him lately.
Yeah, he's showing how the crisscrossing of these beams, the directed energy weapons, is taking down 911, the 911 system. The
Yes.
emergency system is being taken down. That's going to be done globally. That's going to be done here in the United States. That's going to be done globally. So you're seeing the rollout of these cyber attacks. It's all listed under cyber attack. So it's, even though it's much more, then for me, it's cyber attacks. The cyber attacks come first, and then that becomes widespread, and then it's kinetic attacks, the Terral activation. So it looks like you're showing the
Yeah, this was what does he call it? So this is actually shared by him from Dutch Sense, but I mean HARP rings in the southeast. But he also went through so much stuff this weekend. This was his. This was his.
Welcome back. It is April 28th, 2020.
I'll meet that. That was from the tornadoes this weekend.
right.
So, but keep going. I didn't want to interrupt.
That looks, no, that's okay. That looks just like what passed by my house here.
Really?
That almost never happens. It goes around us because the 6-county area of Northwest Arkansas is higher elevation than the surrounding area. And so for some reason, we get protected. And that's kind of rare for that to pass through here. But I agree with you. I would 5 years ago, I would have disagreed with you about the technology being used because it wasn't at that time. The technology was used to make things look better than they were, to keep the herd calm. But at some point, then they want to hit the bee's nest and get a swarm going. Well, that's what they're doing now. And so I do believe that the weather modification, the toys that they have, that they're using them now to be more destructive.
Yes.
But it's not like that the big earthquake is going to happen on the 3rd is caused by that. That's caused by the black star.
Yeah,
caused by the black star. But what they're using the weather, this geoengineering for, is to wipe out food supply.
Right.
There's a pattern to what they're doing here. Now gardens are supposed to go up here in the northern hemisphere, right? It's about time for me to start my garden here. And so water purification, water treatment plants, power plants, anything that has to do with food production, you expect it to come under attack. And how they're going to do that, they're going to use the terracels to burn them down, and they're going to use weather to take out the crops.
I don't disagree. So here is from this weekend in Florida. This is our local. I mean, not my. It's Orlando. I'm probably. I can be on the highway in about 5 to 10 minutes, and I can be in Orlando in about another 10 minutes, roughly from there. This is what our radar showed. You can see the strange, whatever the hell that is, Terral. You see that?
Mm-hmm. It looks like the directed energy beam.
And then there it is, frozen. That's one of my team members sent that over to us. I don't watch the local news necessarily, but yeah, that's so yeah, I agree. They're going to use that weather manipulation. How do you create a famine, right?
Yeah, to destroy the food production.
Destroy the food production. They never stop.
That's what I'm expecting. That's what you should be expecting.
Correct.
So we have lots of food here on this property, lots of food. And I'm getting ready to start the next gardening. We have to grow something and be ready when we have systems that aren't even in use. We have hydroponics, and we have the ability to germinate, sprouting. It can become your only source of plants. If they take out the environment, you cannot plant outside, radiation or whatever, and then you're going to be limited to go inside. So make sure, I mean, if you're planting outside, I can do that right now, but if I lose that ability, I have to be able to take things inside. So we have grow lights, hydroponics, we have sprout systems that are just put away in mothballs, not even to be used until that becomes necessary.
Interesting. Take us through, and go ahead, share screen. You have screen shared up. Take us through Black Star again, and I know you've done it a million times, but more I want to solidify in people's minds, not necessarily that they have to 100% take this as their personal truth on this, but awareness of the possibility of what we're dealing with. Because, Terral, we are a month and a couple days away from what you're seeing, what you're looking at coming through.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to get, I've got this one article pulled up.
Okay, there you go. I'll bring it up.
Okay, telescope. It's just not wanting to come up.
It
But
takes
anyway.
on Substack. It will pop up. It just takes a little bit of time on Substack. I don't know why it does that. It might.
Okay.
Maybe it was a higher res file.
Okay, so the black star is the invisible collapse binary twin. Yeah, there we go. To our sun, and I began tracking it. And whenever the Elenin comet was discovered, is when my investigation began on this. That was right after doing the 9/11 book, and everything in my mind for the previous 5 years, 2006, 2010, was 9/11. And so when the comet, the Elenin comet, Elenin is 9/11. You know, just spell it out. Elenin is 9/11. And that was the name. And I communicated with the fella, Leonid Elenin, 6 times. I was never convinced he was a real human being. It looked like the whole thing looked like a psyop. And so it was my job to figure out what kind of psyop. What is this? And the perihelion date, whenever this object, Elenin comet, was nearest the sun, going maximum velocity, was 9/11, 2011, exactly 10 years to the day after the 9/11 inside job. And so you can see how I was lured into it right after finishing my book on the 9/11 inside job. And there's a lot of patterns. That's what I do, you know, with my mind as a pattern recognition guy. And I began to realize this is most certainly a psyop. And the object was staggering its steps as it was coming in. The Russians picked that up, that it was slowing down and speeding up like it was a spaceship or something. That was manipulation by the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, it turned out to be. But that told me again that they were changing. See, the thing about comets in particular, they're not like asteroids in that they change mass, they outgas, they change their orbit period whenever they interact with the sun. And so this object was behaving strangely for a comet. It should have been changing, the orbit period should have changed. The perihelion date should have been constantly changing as it changed its mass. It didn't happen. It was acting like an asteroid. That's because of manipulation. So I saw that all this was manipulated, and then it's likely that the element comet's not even real. It's still being, you can still track it, even though it flew into pieces according to the data. So anyway, I was brought into this investigation, and then began tracking the earthquakes. We're on the 188-day cycle then. That means that you add 12 days to every calendar year. It's very similar to Saturn. So whenever we go around the sun, we catch Saturn 13 days later each year, and Jupiter 30 days each year. And so there was a 188-day cycle was made this object that I was tracking an object that was creating these earthquakes. So whenever I go back to my website right over here and take you down, these earthquakes were all predicted in advance. So I knew I was tracking something, but it was not the Element Comet for sure. So then I realized there's something else out there that we characterized early investigation as a heavy mass object that was creating on the near side and backside a series of earthquakes. And then if this 188-day cycle continued, the black star would have been here in 2017. But something changed. This 12-day differential in these lines turned into 6 days and then to 3 days because the black star is slowing down inbound orbital velocity. So what this is the collapsed remnant remains of our sun's once larger binary twin. It has a magnetic repulsion relationship with our sun so that it is slowing down inbound orbital velocity based upon proximity. So that's one of the reasons that my prediction dates, Fukushima was predicted within 4 days of it happening with only 2 months of data. Guerrero was predicted within 2 days, and my predictions have been getting better and better. I was thrown off in 2018. That quake happened way too early. It was electromagnetic jolt instead of gravitational. And it was because Jupiter was right there with the black star. So that threw things off a little bit. Things are back to kind of normal now. Jupiter is this solar system harmonics. It's electric universe model that Jupiter had too much influence over what was happening, but now it's moved out of the way. So now my readings most recently are within a half a day of being accurate. So this is the date right here, June 3rd, 2024. We're going to be in nearest proximity. The black star, it appears now, has a circular orbit. It has to do with a complicated, difficult to explain monopole-dipole relationship. There's a dipole monopole switch. It's magnetic relationships. It has to do with the cube of the closing distance with a dipole magnets, and then a square of the closing distance with the monopole. The sun and the black star currently right now are locked in a monopole relationship. That's never been observed. It's all theoretical, but it's the only explanation to explain how the black star transitions from a long elliptical orbit to a circular orbit. It does it while it's going around the sun, which it's doing right now, by the way. It's going to cross Earth orbit path between if it happens on this cycle, June the 3rd. If it's the next orbit cycle, it's going to be very near to June the 6th, just like your other fellow said. June 6th is the next day on my black star event timeline based upon all the data they have today. That'll be refined when I know the number of seconds between the backside alignment, December 2nd, and June the 3rd, first half of the day. So I'm going to count the seconds and then run the comparative analysis against previous half orbit cycles. And it's going to show me a diminishing value. And it's going to tell me when we're going to have the next backside alignment, which is going to be likely, it's going to be the first half of the day on December the 6th, likely, of the backside alignment, if we have another orbit cycle. So I'm a mathematician and a scientist in my my self-training, and this is where I shine in doing this type of research right here. And so that's what we're dealing with. This is the same object that came to the inner solar system in the days of Noah that created the flood, and in the days of Moses to make the world stop turning and then start turning again. And it's coming right now for the prophet of Acts chapter 3, start at verse 19. And it's going to come again in 3,600 years to fulfill Matthew 24 and Joel 2 and Zechariah and Revelation. So that's where we are. This is I'm showing you right now. This is the seismic chart 2024. And each one of these lines is a weekly report That's already been done. And right now I'm preparing for week number 8 and looking for these values right up here. So this is a Black Star newsletter report. You get 52 of these per year. It's only $25 per year. I put all these, here's the recent interviews right here. Here's the one for today. That's going to get a link. And then all this information is put together for you weekly. It's uploaded to a 2024 Dropbox folder. All you need is the link that I share with you. No Dropbox account, no username, no password. Just put it in, hit the link, go down to newsletter number 18, and you'll be looking at this newsletter after Thursday evening. So I give you a near side alignment quake analysis, and I show you the quake swarm areas that I'm watching. And I keep up with the new volcanic eruptions. There's a pattern to them, how many each week, green values, red values, and those correspond to these charts that I showed you. I showed you all, see these charts, they have green values, red values. So it's a process. I'm the only person in the world that I'm aware of that is tracking the black star based on a black star year. So the calendar year, the January, December 30 to December, and then there's a black star year that began first week in March, and it's going to run till about the second week in March 2025. That's the way these charts are set up. So I give you access in the Dropbox folder to all of these charts going back to 2014 to help you see the patterns. You can see the week the Earth stood still. You can see periods where we had 0.7 magnitude earthquakes for 24 consecutive months. And when we had only 2 7 magnitude earthquakes over 200 days in 2019, that happened. So I track the anomalies, these L values. They're showing you the weeks that we are 50 events or more below the 10-year average. It's happened 7 times now, and it's happened 2 times just here in the 2024 orbit cycle. We missed this one right here by only 4 events. Or we would have had 3 of these L values. There's only 3 L values for all of 2023, and there's only 2 for the previous 10 years. So this is happening with increased frequency because the tectonic plates are being pushed apart on our planet. And so this is what I expect to see. I warned about this years ago that it's going to happen. These L values are going to creep in. And now they're creeping in with more frequency, telling me that the black star is almost here. So that's a kind of an overview. You can go to my website right over here, and you can download a free Black Star newsletter report right here, volume number 14, and a mystery report, volume number 1. You can just download them and see what it's about, and then you can subscribe right here, or you can go to Substack, and there are links there where you can subscribe and support the research. So that's the update, Jason.
That's the update. You were fast on that. That was concise, man.
Well, thank you.
that was like, you got this down. How many shows have you done with other people now in the last month?
Oh, just in the last months. So I've done, like you, over 1,000. I had my own podcast over at Revolution Radio for years. And if you just go to my website and go down, you can see what's been done here. Here's Tradcat Night with Eric on the 16th. There's you on the 15th and the 1st. Josh Monday on the 30th of March. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 interviews. Yeah, in February. I'm doing more. For years I did once a month. I mean, back whenever this started, I was doing one a day with Deacon John and Hijacker, and we were doing one every day, 7 a week. And my reach, that was 2011, 2012. And AI took us down, and I realized I better slow down or else AI is going to kill me. But here lately I've been doing more because we're beyond the fail-safe now. Black Star is almost here. Almost nobody believes me in what I'm saying, so I'm not really a threat to anybody, so I'm spreading my wings a little bit more. Sure. Just a little bit more, I would say.
Now that's obviously very biased towards him. That's what he reposted last night. And he's reposted that twice now in the last probably year, which tells me this is imminent. But I'm first, obviously it's a biased video from a standpoint of your viewpoint on it. But what are your thoughts on that from a country standpoint? That was all in 2017 and 2018.
That's right. And before the demoralizing of the United States. Before our now it's 100 every 100 days we're another trillion in debt.
$1 trillion in debt. Yeah, I know, it's
Yeah,
insane, isn't it?
and that's accelerating. It can only get faster.
Right.
So the Fed it's way out of control. They're off balance sheet. Most people don't even know they have an off balance sheet.
That's not even counting unfunded liabilities and derivatives.
Right. So we're at a quarter of a quadrillion with what you just named, not
Correct.
counting the derivatives bubble. That's 2 to
Correct.
3
That's
to 4 trillion.
quadrillions.
Yeah, quadrillions of dollars.
This basically the economic system. If
So-
it is not reset as they've done, there's the whole world collapses.
That's going to happen on purpose.
Yes.
So whenever I'm looking at the images that you just shared, what I see is Trump solidifying relationships with those going to the underground arc cities.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the same people that are working together. They're getting the daily memos and briefings from the global bankster cartel, the people that own the central banks, House of Rothschild, Rockefeller, Gates, eugenics people, and they're going to do whatever it says. So the game plan's now much different than whenever Trump was in office then. And Trump's going to be forced to carry the ball in a world that's at war. So the war thing is going to happen. It's happening. So the stage is set in the Middle East for World War III. The stage is set over in Ukraine. The Ukraine war is for depleting resources of the West. That's all it's for. So there's billions that just went over, 91 more billions going to Ukraine and Taiwan, and that's getting China upset.
What if that's for turning on the infinite printer to take to implode the system faster?
Well, the system is already done.
Okay.
It's just it's a matter of whenever the House of Rothschild says, okay, now it's time. So the banks stop with the pushing down the price of silver.
Right.
That's one of the first things that's going to happen. So it's going to go. It went through. It's really support now. It's at 30. It was at 26. Now it's at 30. They don't want it to go through 30 because it makes the dollar look weak. So that's all artificial. The banks are spending a lot of money on paper silver to push that price down. At some point, they're going to stop doing that. It's kind of like the weather modification thing.
Yep.
It was used to suppress black star effects. At some point, that's turned around on its head, and it causes chaos and calamity. The same thing, exact same thing is going to happen with the economics, what's going on. So the key here is that the governments are at war against their own people. But the media is being used to hide that fact. But at some point, it's going to become quite obvious that the fascists, just like Nazi Germany, turning Jews into fertilizer, on the rail trains. Instead of going into the giant fields, they're going to go into the underground arc cities to feed the children of the New World Order. So Trump's going to be used. It's going to look like a white knight that's coming in to save everybody, and then people are going to get the bad news when it's too late. And it's going to be blamed on somebody other than Trump. Whenever it actually happens, it's going to be blamed on Putin. The electromagnetic pulses are going to start taking down cities. The NSA is going to be behind it. The administration, the corrupt administration, working with the fascists, working with the Googlers and the Facebooks and the fascists. They are taking us down. They're going to run to the underground arc cities. So Trump is going to be used. He's the one going to be put in power. But then we're going to have martial law. Martial law is coming, guys. Martial law. And so Trump's going to sign the orders, but maybe he's not even going to be fully aware, like with Operation Warp Speed. He's not even going to be fully aware of what he's signing. But ultimately, it's going to be the government against us, the fascists against us, whether you're German, whether you're American, doesn't matter. Russian, if you're on their A team, you're going to the underground arc cities, the elite, then you're, in good shape, at least as far as the world sees you, as far as the elite see you. You're in the lake of fire from God's view of that. So that's how I see things. They're going to shake out. The chaos is we're already living in chaos right now. Look at societal support with airplanes, with bank accounts. People can't access their money. They can't get on their plane. You can see that try to call 911 in a lot of places you can't. So at the hospitals, societal support is under attack. It's going to continue to get worse. At some point, then the elite are going to push the button. So that means Trump, Xi, Putin, Netanyahu, Hamas, everybody gets the memo that, okay, this is it. So now it's time to activate the terror cells. The Hamas has terror cells here. Hezbollah terror cells here. So they're all just waiting, along with the Japanese military, Russian military. They're all here already. On the other side of activation day is whenever everything's going to change. But then the White Knight is Trump. He's going to look like the White Knight that's going to come in and save everybody, but that's not going to be what happens. So the National Guard's going to go around and be rounding up those of us on the right. And people, it's going to happen very, very rapidly whenever the change happens. People are going to be taken to the FEMA camps because they have no power, they have no water, and the wellness people come around and say, "Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay? We have, down at the FEMA camp, you can be playing board games with the other people, and then they're going to be turned into fertilizer before you know it." That's the way I see things. Hate to say it, Nazi Germany. This is the Fourth Reich that we're living in right now. It's just more planning, better liars that we're dealing with, better facade, better smokescreen, and Trump, I believe, is part of that. So if you think things through from a threat assessment perspective, we are to prepare for the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is that Trump's one of them. That's what I prepare for. If he turns out to be a good guy, he's going to come save us, I'm going to be over prepared. That's good.
Sure. Yeah. No, you're not wrong there.
Yeah. So expect that to be surprised on the other side of what's about to happen, and try to prepare for every possible scenario that you can physically, bring to be based on your resources. Work together with like-minded people and do everything to try to stay out of the way of what's coming, because what's going to come is lockdowns and then martial law and then people being rushed off to FEMA camps. And not a lot of the news media is going to be showing you a rosy story as that's happening until it's time to scare the hell out of you. And then they're going to turn everything around. And if you look at one of my posts here, "Are you ready for terror cell activation day? The week there stood still." This is more the Black Star links. China, Russia's planning an attack on the United States. It's my letter. So the terror cell activation day, then I recommend Michael Yon. The stage is being set for terror cell activation day. This is what I'm preparing for. Michael Yon is one of the best sources. If you get to interview him, you want to interview Michael Yon. Try to get a hold of him. And this is what I want to share with you. They're going to exploit, this is page 93 of the NASA 2025 Warfare PDF. Okay. The carriers. All of our carriers are in vulnerable positions today. Capture, torture Americans in living color on prime time. Terror cell, terror attacks. The terror cells are already here. Michael Yon can tell you all about them. Within the continental United States, binary biological weapon is going to be activated. See, all this is on one page. Mm-hmm. This is a large document. Critical infrastructure takedown, because the terror cells, water, power, fuel, sheriff's offices, police stations. Then attacks against the brain, electromagnetic pulses. And serious cyber, collateral damage exploitation. So this is just one page of the NASA document. And this is what we should be preparing for, the worst case scenario of this playing out. And I'd recommend that you can download the PDF right here. Look at the other pages. I'm sorry if it seems scary to people, but this is what their documentation says, coming from NASA, of all places. And stage is set. I recommend that you go through that to understand more about the threats. That's the way I look at things as a threat assessment analyst, to help you identify threats, create your contingencies, execute them on time. It gives me a little different perspective than the typical the guy that's doing the research here and there. Is from a threat assessment. And that's how I make a living, putting together the survival groups. We have 3 here in the Ozarks, if you would like to join. Go ahead.
No, good. I'm good with that. I've told everybody since 2020 that you have to trust yourself at the end of the day. You have to prepare for yourself. Your head should always be on a swivel. And you have to prepare for worst and best case scenario. America's been in this world, Terral, where we've just been, I joke, don't joke. America's too comfortable still. We are still too comfortable. People like I'm not comfortable. You don't understand what it's like. I'm not comfortable. I go, you still have a roof over your head, and even though groceries are still expensive, you're still eating every day. So don't tell me you're not comfortable, because you still have a cell phone in your hand. You're still on a Rumble chat feed. You're still on social media. That means you're comfortable. You might be in a little bit of discomfort, but you're still comfortable. And I say, prepare for the uncomfortable. Prepare for Trump to be the bad guy. And if you prepare that way and make sure you're taken care of and your family's well taken care of no matter what happens, then even if it turns out great, you'll never be dissatisfied of how much you prepared, and you'll still be happy. That's simple. Really is that simple. And then spiritually get yourself right. And yeah, that's it. It is what it is. Terral, I always appreciate you coming on and giving us information.
Okay. The thing I'm noticing, the pattern, is that people seem to be more difficult to reach. The thing to realize is like with the Candida. I don't know how many shows you've done on Candida, but it's the death cycle. It's activated in more than 75% of the population. Whenever that happens, you get rewiring of the neural network. I just shared information in today's report with the cicadas that are coming out, that they have spores, they have fungus that kills about 10% of them, and that their neural networks are being rewired to destructive behavior. They're being made to try to reproduce even though they can't.
Okay.
And it's killing. Okay. So people are the same way. Just with the Candida, they lean into the direction of bad behavior, destructive behavior, alcoholism, partying, and just from Candida, rewiring the neural network. Well, the biological weapon, people are walking around with SARS. They're walking around with biological weapon, the VAX components that also rewires the neural network. And people are being changed. It's like an invasion of the body snatchers. It's happening. People are falling asleep all around us. And as that's happening, then those that we're trying to help are getting further and further away. Our voices are becoming dimmer. They're becoming more desensitized. It's the nature of the beast of the genocide that's happening. So even though we're jumping up and down and warning people, our voices are becoming dimmer. And that's a real danger. So choose your tutors wisely and try to smack yourself around a little bit and be aware of these threats as they're rising. I'm not afraid to give you dates. June 3rd, first half, I'm not afraid at all. I'm giving you dates. I've been really good at it. Part of that is for your benefit, so that whenever these things happen, you can say somebody out there sees what's coming from space, even though we can't see it. And hopefully that gives you time to prepare and to warn others in your environment. Send them my Substack links. Send them a link to this interview to try to help them to wake up and prepare. Because I'm not kidding you, it's getting more difficult for me to be able to help people. And what I thought years ago was that my support for my research is going to diminish and dwindle by the time the Black Star gets here. People are going to be so desensitized. They're going to be so changed. Then that's the pattern that I'm seeing happening. That's what's happening. And my ability to help people, it's kind of sad, but that's just the reality. Look, that's what we live in. We do our best until God brings us home, and God does the rest.
I agree, sir. I appreciate you today, and keep up the great work, sir.
Okay, can I take 1 minute and do some shameless self-promotion?
Of course.
Are you sharing my page?
There you go.
Website? Okay, this is Terral03.com, and this is Dr. Jason Dean. Appreciate you very, very much, brother. And this is where you get your nano silver. You do not have to be a newsletter subscriber, supporter of any kind. And in the beginning, you had to be a supporter, but now this is your section right up here. You pay a little bit extra for your own shipping. Once you subscribe at Substack or down below to one of the newsletter programs, there's 4 of them, then you can get a discount. I'll pay for your shipping and handling all the way through. And you get 8 files that are attached, including my books, the 9/11 book, the Mystery Explained, the EPUB version for your Kindle, and the extended PDF version. This is where you can check out the Nano Silver webinar presentation, get to education here from this lady. And then this is my interview with Tina Griffin. You get a lot of information about the biological weapon, the space-based HARP digital carrier wave, nanobots, integration into the real-world sim, and all that. Everything, all your Nano Silver. You get, by the way, you get $600 worth of Nano Silver for $100. And I pay for the shipping, and you get an education on top of that. So even if you're going to go somewhere else to get your Nano Silver, get it from me once just to get the education, because these other places aren't going to give you weight charts, things like that. There's also sodium borate to add to the regimen that you need to have for taking AI out of the picture, for disconnecting AI from the nanobots that are already inside of you. So we want to neutralize that threat. Black Star investigation, here's links, and Black Star event timeline. This is the 6 videos that you watch. Whenever you get your hands on my book, The Mystery Explained, you're going to go through these 6 intro videos first. Then I recommend Silver, Miles Franklin. I'm an affiliate there. Justin is the man right here. Here's his phone number right here. Get yourself some small denomination silver. It's projected. Bix Weir says it's going to be $2,000 silver. You can get it right now for spot price plus $2.35 from Justin. This is Miles Franklin. There's not a better place to get your silver, in my opinion. It's right there. You mentioned my name, Terral Croft, and this is Justin's cell number, by the way. You mention my name, you get a discount on every coin. This is where you subscribe. My book, The Mystery Explained. And this is where you catch up on recent podcasts. Sign up to Substack right here. If you can financially support me, I hope that you will. Please support me if you can. Otherwise, you can get access to everything at Substack for free. And make sure that you protect at least one vehicle in your house. EMP Shield, I'm affiliate there too. You get $50 off. Use that code Terral03com, and these people can have you fixed up really, really fast on protecting your house. When the electromagnetic pulses come, they're going to take out your vehicle and your house. So get these devices in place. It's about $350 to protect your vehicle and your house, and you get $50 off whenever you use that code. And that's it, Jason.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate you too. You have a
Very
great
welcome.
day.
Everybody, it's Terral03, Terral03.com. Go check his information out if that resonates with you. And we'll have him back probably in a couple weeks. We'll do that again and go through some more information. I'm sure more information will pop to the top as we go. And everybody have a great rest of your Monday. I'm Dr. Jason Dean. This is Brave TV. Take care, everybody. Be safe out there. Be well. Bye-bye.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.